to thank JG, one of my subscribers, for this particular article. White people are not against welfare, y'all, as long as it's just for themselves. This is an article that came out August 1st, 2018. White Americans support welfare programs, but only for themselves, says researchers. Donald Trump administration recently decided to give $12 billion to farmers hurt by the trade war. Now, didn't I tell you the trade war was going to trickle down? There's no way it's not going to happen, y'all. There's no way. There's going to be a lot of job loss behind this trade war coming up. Okay, a lot. Now, most of you that have been following things in this country know that the red states, which are Republican, are your biggest welfare states in the land. Okay, these monies can be considered a form of welfare for white people in red state America. That's where most of your welfare is, who are among the most loyal supporters. Moreover, the racial disparity is made even clearer by the way that African Americans and other non-white farmers have been victims of systematic discrimination by the United States Department of Agriculture. In 2010, the USDA and the Justice Department reached a $1.25 billion settlement with Black farmers over a lawsuit alleging racial discrimination in USDA farm loan programs. And we know they've also been sabotaging their seeds so that these farmers would eventually give up and give their land up to whites. So, you know, I'm glad they're rising up and suing. Good for the Black farmers. Welfare for white Americans is nothing new. That's right, because they're the biggest welfare recipients. In many ways, the United States was built on white welfare. During the 18th and 19th century, free land was given to European settlers as the intent result of genocide and ethnic cleansing against Native Americans. So if they got free land when they came here, they can't get in your face talking about your family earned everything. No, they did not. As part of this same racist project, the stolen labor, and lives of Black human property is estimated to have been worth trillions of dollars. That's right. Our labor is what made America the wealthy nation that it is today. Without that labor, America would have been worse than a third world country. These folks that floated here from Europe did not build anything with their two hands. In essence, Black pain and Black suffering was a de facto intergenerational welfare payment to white America, one that fueled the country's rise to global power and created income and other life opportunities for white people, both native-born and immigrants. African Americans and other non-white were prohibited both by law and social convention from taking advantage of land grants and other opportunities made available by the Homestead Act and related 19th century legislation, which was conservatively worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So cut the crap on we all got the same opportunities now. Yeah, well, after you for centuries had a long head start, you don't get to say that to us. You don't get to say that crap to us. Nobody got more welfare up in here than the white class of people in America. The American middle class, predominantly white by definition, was created after World War II by way of federal programs like the VA and FHA programs and the GI Bill. This example of white welfare was one of the largest wealth creation and intergenerational wealth transfer programs in history. After African Americans and other non whites were, for the most part, denied access to those opportunities. You know what they do? They give the opportunity to each other, and then years and years and years later, then it's offered to us, and then they got the nerve to look at you talking about we got the same opportunity. Today's extreme racial wealth gap is the most obvious result, and that's the truth. What economists and other social scientists describe as the submerged state government programs, such as mortgage interest reduction, capital gains and other tax credits and cuts, and financial subsidies for entire industries, is another example of white welfare. Whites are disproportionately overrepresented as beneficiaries of the submerged state. Moreover, the submerged state is a central means through which the racial wealth gap is maintained, is so-called post-racial colorblind America. Trust me, these people ain't blind to nothing. There is a complication. The new research by Rob Willer, professor of sociology at Stanford University, and Rachel Wetz, a researcher at the University of California, demonstrates that despite all the ways the government provided welfare programs to help them, white Americans are willing to cut such programs if they believe that African Americans and other non-whites may benefit. They're such nice people, aren't they, y'all? Such nice people. And you know what? You know what the thing is, y'all? Everything they got is unearned. It's unearned. Unearned. If you had to get it off of the backs of other people in order to have it, then it's unearned. It's all unearned. All unearned, y'all. All right. Let's get back to this. This dynamic is made worse when white Americans are made to feel that their place at the top of America's social hierarchy is challenged. Lyndon Johnson insight has been proven true over and over. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Boy, I tell you, I'm so glad Lyndon Johnson came out with that. I am so glad he came out with that because it is the truth. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and his pockets will be empty for you. You know, and he's right. He'll empty his pockets for you. They will. They will. You know, and they'll go broke just to be a racist. Look at how many of them made 911 calls that weren't even about a crime and lost their jobs behind it. And they continue to do it. Woo, these people are stupid. Okay. A new academic article, Privilege on perceived racial status threats lead white Americans to oppose welfare programs. I don't care if they oppose it. You know, let them oppose it, because let me tell you something. Every time we were subjugated the worst, we did the best. Okay? You had Reconstruction. 200 Black towns came out of Reconstruction. We always do our best. And during the Depression, we rose up with Black Wall Street. Okay, so every time they tried to do the worst dirt to us, we always rose up to the occasion. So take your welfare, because our history shows what we're all about when we go without. and how we're able to rise. And that's why you have to keep coming and sabotaging things and, and keep over policing us because you know what we're capable of doing. Published in May 2018 issue of the journal Social Forces explores the issue, finding that white American welfare attitudes are shaped by concerns about the status of their racial group in American society, which we know is slipping. It's slipping. Wett and Willer conclude with a pessimistic and realistic observation about how white racial resentment and white racism hurts Americans on both sides of the color line, and how efforts to create racial equality will continue to spur white backlash as they have throughout history, American history, and which is true. If everything was working so smoothly with them, then they wouldn't have to keep trying to set the society up to be in their favor. They still got to fight for that in all of these centuries, y'all. So that tells you it's not going so smoothly. This is why they have to oversaturate the police departments and law and the whole legal system with themselves, because without that, there is no way they would be able to keep all of this stuff going. They would never be able to pull it off. And being that they are a dying population, you're going to see a lot of shifts happening that they're not going to be able to control at all. Okay, so let me just go down a little. Rob Willer and I examined the sources of white American opposition to welfare. We find evidence that welfare backlash among white Americans is driven in part by feelings that the status of whites in America is under threat. These threats trigger heightened levels of racial resentment among whites, and in turn heighten opposition to welfare programs that whites tend to perceive as mostly benefiting racial minorities, which it doesn't. That is a lie that they came out with just to keep negative press on Black people in this country. But white people have always been the biggest beneficiaries of welfare. Okay, if we are 13% of the population, there's no way we could be most of the welfare recipients. They are the majority. So therefore, they would be the biggest recipients. Isn't that what they claim they are? They said they're the majority. So the majority of the recipients would have to be them. They claim they're the biggest group. This research shows when and why whites support cuts to social safety net programs that benefit poor members of all racial groups, while we don't directly look at the process that leads whites to perceive welfare programs are primarily benefiting minorities, because you choose to believe that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, they believe that because that's what they choose to believe. But reality is most welfare recipients in America are white. So if you want to cut that program, I will back you up. Go right ahead and cut it, because the way I see it, it is just another way of you biting off your own nose, and I don't care about that. I don't care about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is just more evidence of their world crumbling, and the backlash is proof of them not knowing what to do about it. What you are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is a very desperate people, a people that got all kinds of goodies, unearned goodies in this country, and they don't want to let go of it. But it is inevitable with a high suicide rate. Most of them are the ones on opioids. Most of them are out of the job labor force because of those reasons, and the depopulation that's going on, which is natural because they are an old demographic in America that's dying out. You know, all of this fighting and railing against the other groups on this planet is not going to stop what's happening to them. They act as if they keep acting out and doing all this stuff, that it's going to resolve something for them. It's not. So, ladies and gentlemen, look at it like this. It's, if I can't have it, no one else will. And they can't wipe everybody off of this earth. They just simply can't. All of this acting out, the end result is going to be what? You're still dying out. That's what the end result is going to be. You know, these folks are on borrowed time. And when you see stories like this, it just really drives that point home. And before the trolls get mad at me over this story, it is your own people that put this out in the salon. It was your own people that published this. So if you want to be mad at someone, you need to go to the salon and go to the white people that wrote this article. They wrote this article. I'm just reading it so that my subscribers can know about it. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. I'll see you on the next video. And Trump is going to be your biggest culprit. Trump, please get rid of welfare and keep ramping up your trade war, because these folks don't even see the obvious thing that's coming. And he is going to bring their downfall even faster. You watch. The farmers are the first to suffer from the trade war. All of the other jobs in the labor force will follow. You just wait and see what I'm saying. It's going to bring a lot of people down to unemployment, and it's going to get so bad they won't be able to find other jobs. Peace, family.